Now, the day of the test, my advice on that is, first of all, do all those things your mom tells you to do, right? Get a good night's sleep, eat something that you like so you'll be in a good mood. If you're in a good mood, you're smarter. Then get to the testing center early and bring 2 forms of identification, because they're going to ask you for it. One of them needs to have a picture on it. They want to make sure that you are who you say you are and not just somebody you paid to go take the test. Okay, so make sure that you have that identification with you, because if you don't, then it's just going to put more pressure on you. It's just going to be, okay, now I got to run home, I'm already running late, I got to go get that information. So make sure you have the identification and that one of those forms of identification has a picture on it. As far as reviewing for the test, right before the test, review. But don't cram. What's the difference between reviewing and cramming? Well, reviewing is going back over information that you already know, just to make sure that you have it clear in your mind and just to make sure that it's fresh in your mind before you go in to take the test. Cramming is trying to cram a bunch more information in that you should have studied way before now. If you don't know the material 15 minutes before you're about to go take the test, you're not going to learn it in 15 minutes. So you're wasting your time cramming if that's all you're going to do. Learn the material, know the material, then just relax and review the material right before the test. And relax is an important part. I mean, you're probably thinking, I'm going to relax. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take this test. It makes all the difference in the world, and you're telling me to relax. Well, it doesn't make all the difference in the world. It's not a life and death scenario. If you don't pass the test, you get another chance to take the test and pass it. So relax. If you relax, you've got a much better chance at passing the test. Now, when you go in, they're going to offer you some practice tests just to get used to taking this type of test. And especially if you've never taken tests on the computer like this, take all the practice tests that they offer you, because they don't go against your time, and it gets you used to using the engine. It helps you to relax, and plus you know what to expect. You know more about what the test is going to be like. The practice tests usually have nothing to do with computers, but it's just for you to get used to the engine. Then, when you start taking the test, read the whole question and then all of the possible answers before you start formulating your response. In other words, don't turn one question into 4 questions just because there's 4 possible answers. Don't look at the question and look at the answer, look back at the question, look at the next answer, and if you do that, you might run out of time. If you don't do that, if you read the question, read all the possible answers, and then review back through the question, eliminate the answers, it's a much better way to manage your time. If you do it that way, what you'll find is sometimes the test will teach you something that you didn't know before that. The test will remind you of something and help you to get another answer right. But you've got to relax and go through those responses that way so that can happen. Then, when you get done with the test, review the test information, review your responses, but be very careful about changing any of your responses just because they don't look right now. In other words, if your first instinct response, if that looks like it's right, but you're not absolutely sure, now you're reviewing and now you're not sure, go with your first instinct. If you're absolutely sure that something that you've answered is wrong, then change it. But if it's on the fence, leave your first instinct response. The reason for that is because you're mentally sharper at the beginning of the test than you are at the end of the test. So at the beginning of the test, you had a much better chance at getting that question right than you do at the end of the test after your brain has been beat up for a little while, and now you're looking back on it and it doesn't look like it did before and you're not really sure. Leave your first instinct response there. So those are the recommendations that I can give you in regards to taking certification tests. And they apply to this certification test as well as other certification tests that you might want to take in your career. So the last piece of advice that I can give you is to go take and pass the Network Plus test. You can do it.